ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯤꯗ ꯏꯀꯨꯏ ꯀꯨꯏꯗꯅꯀꯣ CMꯒꯤ some sort of a offer ni peace talk tꯧꯁꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯑꯃ move ꯑꯃ ꯇꯧꯕꯁꯤꯗ cooking pina ꯃꯣꯏꯒꯤ reaction ꯑꯃ ꯄꯤ reaction ꯁꯤ ꯀꯔꯝꯕꯅꯣꯗ outrightly reject ꯇꯧꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯑꯗ ꯃꯥꯅ reject ꯇꯧꯔꯤꯁꯤ ꯀꯔꯝꯕ ꯃꯑꯣꯡꯗ ꯇꯧꯔꯛꯄꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗ justice and reconciliation ꯂꯩꯇ꯭ꯔꯤꯉꯩꯗ talk ꯍꯥꯏꯁꯤ meaningless ꯅꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ in as many words ni ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯁꯦꯀꯣ ado justice later kamain to na reconciliation leidino and justice is first important ni and justice se kaino na muni ka di ji cooking bigi wording the komoi on wording the sai labna su tamo labna su sai pan bigi ba haidi demand for kind of union territory with legislative assembly status never which basically means which say another level of conflict say heightened doma level if you remember if all of us remember ko separate administration and horokpani when the war began when was the war and hainariba hojiki loktuna dana ikheng laina dana bloodshed tawdana mi sinadana moiram dasu hadi kuki jogi group dasu adagi khoigi miti phurukki site dasu ko sinadana khoigi asokpan yawna victims mayam leidana tawba matagsida akhoina at least sense of justice to pallabadi ko hadi how can you jump one sense of justice from another sense of justice hai dekho internally displaced people mayam lairi moi jesi mayum da hanbangam dana lairi adugi hanna khonna budu is a kind of a seeking for justice never but justice sena moina hisi cooking pin hariba justice and reconciliation je justice property puro harakanda the only justice that they are seeking seems to be asagi demand for union territory with legislative assembly status hai never other the karamba justice no haibaze I think one needs to ponder think loud or crack something that needs to be decoded over what the karino import or is haiba am important of port am hairiba and more the sense of justice is it inclusive of displaced people or moi gidesu moi deri cookie jogi group desu moi desu victims ma'am lai akhoi desu akhoi maiti gi desu victims ma'am lai ri ko victims in justice hana porak padura adu porak padul laitradi tok tawroi haira adu di natre kaino that was not outrightly moi kano spell out of deva then last thing the condition to the now they are demanding kano ne adu nai ngai to upgrade to khole have ne separate administration degi union territory with the legislative assembly status phang bhai se upgrade or ineba this basically means kaino haibada hoi akhoi chief minister na akhoi chief minister the people na elected oiba chief ministers na offer ma pi base moi gi area of intervention je sum khuzale haibane ba kaino da negotiable oibane na khalamba por khrazu non negotiable oiba por khra la aba negotiate to yadre haibaga manara ka doine ba because under no circumstances or under any circumstances I don't think government of Manipur huzili ri balengak sina ko chief minister NB na pali balenga pairi balengak sina mana lead to na pairi balengak sina union territory with legislative assembly p ni haibadi I don't think government of Manipur will not endorse it likewise CSOs oibalai public moods oibai ko taking both Meitei as a fruit then Naga fruit laidna ko si ma'am sine the karamba form of ngasai unitary status have the I think there's going to be more contradictions and more non-negotiable kanoiba stage say I think is going to enlarge further haibidi sidi taisna bu oiruda bagi pot ama la amana widen ngasai gap say amana sawana widen or pagi kana depends or pagi kana amla aba are si depending or abadi now what do we do haibagi pot amla aba ko and a sense of justice and sense of reconciliation say akhoi public fora da chatla kanda justice size kaino justice for the victims la justice for ngasagi political demand phangkana justice phange haiduira natraga huji akhoi khwaidagi maru oibadi displaced persons leiriba internally displaced person oi ma'am sing moi gi ma'am da handana moi gi pongna pham mayum da leidana ko moi gi justice pi dana compensation ni khangde some sort of arrangement ma to haibaje I think akhoi gi MP na zu angom sa bimol na su ko akhoi gi inner Manipur parliamentary constituency MP na zu on the floor of the parliament as tum pukhat pawari ni aduna
video jana to pa side am tang related on pusin jawge ja ko gi hujik miyam na haibase militant singa government ne kadobagi wari shana ga dawri bano mathau tabra haibo khang se dum toina dum hangi haiba tare mayam asi anobam de dum oidre loina handaki manip kanogi chief minister gi peace talk ki kanosi ko gi proposal se yamna mak kuki in pina reject tor khiba man thangat kiba pisto ki proposal si yam nawang adum akoi dakar oi kaina khan kamai ding bining jasile
I think laina khaise ko in some sense moi intervention am legi damneba precisely because of the adugi logic to na ko haidi moi gi su suspension of operation sign to ngai da wazala bazun khangani lakpada territorial integrity of manipur se kai ro hene iri ne ba sign to da ko territorial integrity of manipur se kai haidi they are not against it and all the signatories to the kanone asagi suspension of operation the eve se adu civil administration yaudri ko demand autonomous administration hai neba so if you look at how semantics ko simple meaning political meanings of the terms used in all this lakwa matam dadi there is a very murky oiba or rather murkier and murkiest or kadaba issue mayam ama unfold or eba ji and CZ is not a simple rejection nateba if you read between the lines I think they have said much more haidi quantum leap am tawur hai ba asai autonomous ki kano do demand tor madagi kano separate administration upgrade sam tawkhlai ne ba independent country was one station la kadi there is where adu lakpa area do ni primarily aina hai je khoigi internal dynamics na mo ere ko is there a possible external dynamics akoina geopolitics kana tawre ri se ko sigi lakpa se sigi kano se na weightage na kaya mo idui no but if New Delhi had been so silent, which is easy. I think more time to time worry but is just reply for reply's sake never. I don't think any substance yaw bapot na tina ina adum khansi ba ina personal view the ko. Kadi aduna ai la kanoga point namtang haizege aduna kai gamba I highly suspect ko mine is just a conjecture ni ko highly suspect New Delhi silence is I think yam deliberate silence I think they already have something in plan moi khang di habe dei sungai yaroi so I think something is going to roll out of New Delhi neba adubu akhoi gi kano se manipur gi issues se national level da haidi at the level of public discourse da hijack to guduna worry mo ere ko but I think New Delhi definitely knows aduna ID physics se min ha ko matam da why don't we ask the home ministry why don't we ask the PMO or Rahul Gandhi na on the floor of the parliament the haido India is ruled by 6 characters like 6 people and high honorable kano prime minister or kanda home minister Amit Shah kind of maming pale A1 A2 wain pangkalaiba Ajit Doval gi maming bolo khala ineba who is basically means even the oppositions already suspect certain amount of kar haitare akhoi gi ji maiti furup ani gi hitang lautuna raga khana bana tabida ikheng ta nabida na tabida ko there is a third party fourth party fifth party ma'am kan mukut hingjilak pagi pot ama laibra haise I think it's just a conjectures but it's a blindly believing to conjectures nate silence is golden need
not the thunderous silence
it's a thunderous silence and it speaks volumes I mean am chauna masida kano something I know big juggernaut roll out to male New Delhi
oza gyam phajaba opinion ai mathang se kan lak chige oza diren da lak chige oza khoi gi phiki political solution amasung peace ki hanjalak na bangwari sana bagi matang smain sigi sta haiba tar hujik kan irang thoiba Jiribam Saida Maja Jiribam Saida Quiki Chip Nissan Sut and Big Irang Hanjle and Hai Begin Namden, no my captain Cotton Amtoki, DC, SP and Quiki Malong, consider Kunjasing the Hanjel Halaganda, Laina Baku Security Tarakani, Jack me Pai Bato Danaba, Quiki Gantana, Laina Bigisi, can was a Tamasik, can was Taza Assurance, Peter Matung Hanjelagamu. May I have no my capsule of Pocola Kunjasing in the Gay Pongdura Posisu, even a quid Assam rifle of the Agalay, Assam rifle, Lake Kappa Abraga, Hibagi Posis, when at the Pongdo have done Simasiki, Masimaki, Newski. Pau mayam da suloi ma kano tawise aduna sigi pothi mamuk santi hanjila koi film da lai haira ka dum back to ngasai gi normal hai tare hane gi habit sida dum lak pai pot angkok lai china jiribam gi maru oine le adu atop tom pham singa su yeng ko matam da khoi gi moirang da navin khunda adegi thanma pokpi da mayam kap tharak pai puse mayam am lai ha tare sigi matang de oza kamai thambi ni oza
surbala sini se these are little irritants that can cause bigger upheavals ko ada aina huji adu answer to buda aina pusining por khar leire kaino da oja singlen na sunga sai hodok buda proactive intervention na yam phajaba kano concept am se nei ba proactive intervention ji kaino have the New Delhi na proactive intervention nam lo kan da all kinds of issues that is being confronted by the people of the northeast particularly in the context of Manipur da proactive intervention ba tawdradi kaim ta tawroi haibni ahong bam lai roi haibni proactive intervention no hoi sahi em helak pa se hoi na face story ba issue ma am kaim ta udre ko but apart from sigi kano se hoi no khangma nga tani hoi se ngasai kano surbalan hai do jiri bam da mo ho somna ganda kind of peace lae adigi khoi this is the problem jamna phare the incidence of violence has gone down haraga no ala ke kam da ba adi ikui na sanum kam da ba ko the see is a little irritants that can cause havoc in the long run haibani but what is interesting is akhoi na sahi amagi si observe tar ko matam da some isolatedly sibine incidents ma am yeng wi mota some kind of a template am build up to we ba sida ina some use over the ina some yeng jirak padani in the was lan 1 year and almost more than 1 year 1.5 years to young pase kan Indonesian strategic thinker and also expert am like Rizwal Sukuma ina ko mone in the Indonesian context di haibani mana budi ko mana template am pi template is something called a horizontal conflict and a vertical conflict hoigi notice the labor primarily hanadagi yam thina yam sathina haidi safrukan labor problems di hoigi vertical conflict haibs neba vertical conflict haidi for instance in the case of Naga national movement haigra later ko hoigi restoration of Manipur's sovereignty haigra movement any lapase who are these people who are revolting against New Delhi or perhaps starting of a revolution or starting of some kind of armed struggle against the Union of India and harapamatam da lapase this is known as the vertical conflict New Delhi ga direct head on confront on base but what is happening is because perhaps this is a form of intervention but it is not necessarily proactive it can be proactive behind the scene ko one can be proactive behind the scene and completely it can be very yamna masking the bagi ko pot khar zule ba proactive obise ada proactive position om di lawe ba aina khamba the government of India na that proactive interventions can how to settle all this armed insurgency primarily based on Indian scholars sing na natraga koi subcontinental scholars sing na subnationalism ka hari se haidi New Delhi bu fight to ngamba in the Union government bu fight to ngamba Naga nationhood kangde even MNF Mizo National Front and Mizoram this lai de koi Manipur so koi lal hoba mayam lai ise ko but they are basically based on directly confronting New Delhi neighbor but over a period of time there is a tendency to actually subdue all this movements ko in a very subtle and yamna smart way and the smart way is called another level conflict the shift of the neighbor as a stage vertical conflict se atopa level and the shift of the neighbor conflict now there is the introduction of something called I think in the case of Manipur so something called horizontal conflict hai na vertical nataba horizontal conflict di kana oidino haipo matam da within the same hoigi Manipur haiba hoigi the idea of Manipur na laisi de hoidi bari hum na primarily ko conglomerate mem sembudna wakana moire meiti pangan haigra meiti haibra valley de leiba hoigi people se one prumo moire ko Nagas and northern side and also elsewhere leiba sing sin ko Nagas lere kuki conglomerate ko kuki chin gano zo haigra kuki zo kata haigra lena ko conglomerate homze moi masen khana hanbaze in some sense is also a kind of a very subtle strategy to actually diminish the movement and to rattle the not only rattle but to absorb in a different sense ko kan wajing asagi koi vertical conflict se loisan ba honna badana horizontal conflict generate to holle horizontal conflict se adon di now for instance visit 25 se wazala bana ka amola bana ka se haido 25 over more than 25 years ni Nagagan negotiation to risiko ada proactive intervention to rasu proactive intervention prime minister level ni Nagagi talk to risiko political talk na surbalan kan haido political talk to ba haise 25 years of framework agreement again stuck up to lay ni flag and constitution na Nagagi ko huji lakadisi di kaino da I think New Delhi is really prepared in different sense ko prepared in a different sense id sigi posing asegi vertical conflict se horizontal the on thok na now perhaps need the league think tanks in the khali se khoi gi han labor vertical conflict se loisin ba ka samanare so now generate as many level as various level of horizontal conflicts ama gamoga fruit masa sin loktu hala kanda ko complete some kind of a chaos ma create to pase but that chaos definitely has a ordered rational layer. This ordered rational is to actually dismantle the edifice of as I in as a heriba vertical conflicts must dismantle in some sense in simple terminology when a counter insurgency herize si lotion na bahona bada counter insurgency lotion gi hedi direct confront with moi masena dum nation na kan hana dana sunadan lotion lo haibagi pot ama leibra hena we kaino da masi action speaks louder than word. And each human being, what is citizen of Manipur natra ko, akoy di informed citizen already. We feel, we see, we hear natra. Adana I think it's high time to ponder upon these lines.
Okay, sir.
Beyond looking beyond akoy gi ngasay irritant side. I know I'm calling irritants not to kahida belittle the kahida akoy thui incidents में हमसे को. But I think there is a big game being pulled out of New Delhi.
Okay, sir. Intervention je lady lay do boza gyam phajaba observation che kara mawong da moina thauchin tharang tawrige be sam pachan thambi ja ai aroi bigi round ten ta thambiu kamai thambi ninge hujiki miyam ne am chaungna asa tawkiba handaki train to suba kan manipulation chip assembly ki taruk session che ngasi loisin khe sitting mapan lai basi oi khirba phibam sidaida miyam chaungna asa thamkiba assembly gi kanosi karamai no jagi kari meeting thambi ninge ja
in assembly per se the kano comments peters ko aina thamjaning ba so when we discussion something wadi Manipur kaibadaba India will not gain anything out of fracturing Manipur ki idea of Manipur fracture to in fact India will bring in, particularly New Delhi will bring in much more bigger problems than New Delhi has ever imagined. New Delhi na more imagine to the different levels of conflict ama yam sauna open up the I think my my last take is Lengak Singh se Imphal ke Lengak oigera New Delhi ke Lengak oigera moi I think they already have the answer adana moi what is most appropriate to khalakanda asagi form of intervention was a thing haido proactive intervention but visible intervention ama torakanda solution ma impork pasi but initiation di moina dum logo dam nin lei kind of the people to people gi initiative makhana mani but now is not the stage, not the right stage for having a people to people initiative se aduna lengak ta khoina nga ba se dum important oibren khali
good governance
good governance good governance
everyone
how one is
start as do mate